Hello and welcome to What Remains. My name's Pete, and on this episode we are going to continue our journey from Holme Moor station to Foggathorpe railway station. The last episode we uncovered loads of old relics, go back and watch that, and we discovered the diverted a river, the River Foulness, which is to my right down there. We're going to continue on the railway and we'll get down towards Foggathorpe in this episode. Something that has been in short supply on this railway is evidence of the actual locomotives running along here, the steam trains. But what we're finding now is on top of this bankment we're coming across our first bits of clinker probably since before Middleton on the Wolds. Alright, there we go. In my brother's hand there. You can see this is clearly a bit of clinker, and if we go down to the ground level, is this railway clinker? Well, yeah, it is, yeah. Or is this a track bed from when they made it a public footpath? We'll continue on the line and we'll see what else we can find. We're still on the embankment, got the Foulness to my right. There ain't a lot left to see because this closed in 1965 and it's an exposed embankment long before these overgrowths were here. So pretty much anything there ever was has been taken away, probably by the elements as well as people. But down the bottom of the embankment, down here, is probably what remains of very little railway fencing. I hope you can see that down there. I am going to put a picture of that up at the end as well. So stick around to the end so you can get all the photographs too. As we're going alongside the Foulness, my brother spotted something very unnatural and actually really quite interesting. This. It's a piece of rail still here. After all this time, it's a bit that got left. And it's remained here ever since. This is why you have to do these things at winter, so you can see exactly what's there. Let's continue on. Now we've come to a farmer's crossing. I'm not certain if this one was here when the railway was in use. We're still on the embankment and we're still alongside the River Foulness, which is about to take its original direction. I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you. So that way to Holme Moor. Foulness is down here. That way is where we're going to Foggathorpe. We've got this bridge here, which I think is a later addition. I mean, it's not an old bridge by any means, but it is old, but not a railway old. Now, if you look at this, look, plates on it all over. I've walked across here. It is as spongy as anything, and you can hear bits falling off into the river below. I mean, look at the gaps in it here. So I'm walking on very carefully the steel at the edge down there because I don't want to go any further. It's quite scary. So that's the Foulness there. That is all the diversion, what they had to dig out for the railways. And then here it rejoins its original path. Now this would have crossed about where my brother is, through there in the orange, if you can see him, through there. So what they've done is they've filled it all back in, all the way across, and then just rejoined the original pathway here. And then we do come across an actual bridge called Foulness Bridge up there. On the maps, where the bridge takes its original, where the Foulness takes its original path, there is a footbridge marked. And we're going to have a quick look there and see if we can find any remains of that footbridge. Now our footbridge was over there. We can't find anything to even suggest there was something there. But this is where the River Foulness curls round and actually does go under the railway at this point, but there's nothing left. There would have been either a girder bridge or an arch bridge here, but what we can see underneath that tree under there, there's some brickwork. Under the bridge we've got a little shelving bit there, drops down. Perhaps that was the original brickwork from the bridge that was here, that would have been Foulness Bridge. Now we've just got this horrible wooden bridge. Modern construction, no redeeming qualities of it at all, except it'll let you cross the river. Now I'm looking back on the other side and there's absolutely nothing there, so whatever was here has been completely pulled away and gone. There's modern parts to what that's fastened to. Can't see anything. So sadly, no Foulness Bridge. I didn't know what this was like. I was hoping it was going to be here still, to be quite honest with you. I do believe there's a Foulness road bridge somewhere as well. But with that disappointment, let's get back on. Let's move down the track. We've got Foggathorpe railway station to find. When we're walking these railways, we're now coming to the end of the embankment. We're always looking for things in the hedge bottom and clues. Modern things can give you clues as to what was possibly there, and I've got a perfect example of that here now. So we're just making our way down to Foggathorpe, and we've got a farmer's crossing here, a farmer's gate, because there's nothing at that side, look. But that's not there for a random reason. That's there for a reason. Perhaps they've been using this gate for a long time before this modern one was put in. So we've had a look around there and a bit beyond, and what we've discovered is the original gate crossing. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. Now this would have taken us to the corner of the field rather than in the edge off to the side. We have got an original fence post just in there, look, with the metalwork still on it. Now that fence post here is not square, it's at an angle, so it was an oblique gate. So that meant we have to look for the other gate post. There's none at this side, that's got the hangers on. This one's gone. So what we've done is we've gone across to the other side, and we've gone back into the hedge bottom, because we'll do anything to get these shots for you guys. So in here somewhere there should be a crossing, because that wouldn't have been there to let people on the railway and travel up the railway. It crossed. Now this one here would have had the latches on, so the other side has gone. But we can see a little bit of an embankment down there, or I can, where the horse and carts would have come up through this gate post. Now this is a particularly old one, and we can tell that by the top of it, the wood on it, and it even looks like it's been soaked or impregnated in creosote, which they used to do in huge containers, pressure creosote these, to actually push it into the wood. I'm going to take some photographs of these. I'm going to continue up the line and we'll see what else we've got. Now we've come up to a level crossing. This was an unmanned crossing, and it would have been for Albury cottages, and there are still some remains here of the crossing. It's quite remarkable. So those cottages were there long before the railway, so I doubt they'd have been impressed when all this was put in place. So this is our farmer's track. Now you've got to remember, this is a lot wider than what it used to be. But in the hedge here we've got an original concrete post. And interestingly enough, we've got a bit of old farm equipment in there as well, like a drag of some description. But I don't see any ironwork still on there other than the reinforced metalwork. But the one on the other side, now the one on the other side is more or less in line of where the modern fence is today, except they have encroached on the railways ever so slightly. Now what clues do we have? Well, we know these cottages were here. I've looked on the map, it says it was a level crossing, unmanned, but we've got a concrete post there from the railway era, so we tried to match up on this side. And then when we go into the hedge here, what's even more remarkable is that this one is a wooden one, and we've got the iron at the top there. The iron from the bottom has gone missing, but that's still there. Again, these were never this wide. This only had to get a horse and cart through when it was built. So it's remarkable that one on either side remains, and they've just widened it this way. So what we'll do next is we'll get down the railway line that way, and we'll see what else we can find. A little bit further on from the crossing, we've got fence posts just laid here in the ground, on the ground, sorry, and we've got fence post in the ground in there. Now it looks like these ones have never even been used, brand new, just left at the side, ready to replace any of the wooden ones that are failing in the area. So we'll carry on and we'll see what else we can find. I'm raking about in the hedge bottom again. We're not finding a lot. We're seeing loads of concrete fence posts, too many for you to see, too many to film. We're putting pictures up at the end. Found something down there though. Boomf. I'll turn camera around. So just as an example, there is a fence post there. You probably can't see with the camera, but there's another one in there as well. But down here we've got a sawn off telegraph pole. Now that's been rotted on the top there long enough for this to have been associated with the railway. We are a bit off the side of the track itself, which will be over there. So potentially a telegraph pole from the railway. Now we have walked quite a way now. We found another farmer's crossing, but you would never have guessed except for what's behind me. There's an opening there. Usually there's an opening for a reason, as I explained earlier on, and we have got things here to look at. So there's our opening, and it would have gone straight across here. I suspect that side had the gate on it, which would match with this gate post here, almost straight across to that one there. I'm going to try and get closer to it for you, which is there. I'm trying not to fall over, but the other one has gone. So we've got this one, then we've got a little bit of fencing down here, and then we've got an angled end fence there. Now these would have had gates on that just swung out into the field. They would never have crossed the railway line, just to let the farmer have access through to prevent his livestock going through, or even just to prevent him from riding straight across on his horse and cart without checking. Now let's go to this side. Here we've got one of the angled fence posts that I was talking about over there. Still got the ironwork on all through down there, which are tensioners. That's the end. And then we've got another one at this side here. Most of the ironwork's gone, still got the angle there, but here, which is quite marvellous really, it's an original wooden one. Probably there from the 1840s when this railway was built. Better than that, we've got a gate. Now, it's very unlikely that this is an original gate from when the railway was opened, but it's definitely a gate that fits on those catches. The ironwork, which would have been on there, now gone, and would have been used at some point to close this. Another farmer's crossing, not marked on the maps, rediscovering history as it happens. If you like this kind of thing, please subscribe to the channel. We're going to move down the railway line now. Almost next to the gate, what we were just looking at, we found our first signal pulley post on the upline, which is this here. There is no pulley on it at the moment. That's been long gone, possibly scrapped or maybe even stolen. But we'll go down there because I think we're going to be coming across a crossing. Almost immediately we've come across onto another farmer's crossing. Nothing on that side, but here we've got one of the original fence posts there, still with a bit of ironwork in. We've got our shaped top up there. I've no doubt this one was here. There we go, look, I can even turn that round and put that in the correct position. The one at the bottom is still there. The one at this side is gone. But what we do have is more railway cabling tensioning, and I think everything at that side has been lost. There are some more modern posts here, and there are some over there as well. But my brother's pointing me over there, so this may have been another oblique crossing going off at an angle. Here it is, not much left to see at all. But what there is still really special because of how long these things have been here. Got this here. There's your post off at an angle. Absolutely amazing that these things are still here. And what's even incredible about this one is this is an original railway gate. We can tell by the type of ironwork on there. Just thrown off, discarded and left to rot. And that piece of ironwork will have probably gone onto here or the one at the bottom. And there we go, look, there we have some more. Amazing. We've got to get on with this line. There is a lot to see. There is more than what I thought. I wasn't expecting all these gate posts. So let's get on the line and see what else we find. I just want to show you this where they've been doing a bit of clearance. I've taken some photographs of this lot. We've got fence posts just stood here. Some with bits of wire on. And then I'll turn you round and there's more fence posts where they've been doing a bit of deforestation. One laid down there on the floor. And then here we've got a support one with tensioners on it probably. If we're lucky, probably see our kid in the background. Yeah, look at this one. This is really quite special. We are coming up to a crossing shortly, so we'll see what we've got over there. Now we're at our first manned level crossing since the railway station we were last at, Holme Moor. Few little bits to say. It's completely changed. The road's obviously been widened, modernised. It was probably a dirt track when the railway was first built. I'll show you what we can find because it's quite interesting what is here. We haven't quite crossed the road, but there are now along this railway line all the way down from Holme Moor, there's been hundreds of these once we got past the embankment. These are the original railway fencing, look. More here. And it goes straight across there up to where it would have crossed the road. Now there would have been a level crossing box, a crossing keepers. But this type of fencing here, they don't do this anymore. I wonder how long this has been here. Could it have been part of the original railway? going off that way, or was it always existence from when it was turned into the Budworth Trail? This is where our crossing was. We have to move slightly to get out of the way, but in there somewhere was a crossing keeper's cottage. Now where I am now is on the A163 in East Yorkshire. Now this would have been known as Lincoln Flats Gate. Before the railway came, it would have been known as Lincoln Flats, but they all got these names Gate because there was a gate crossing here. And this place used to have a crossing keeper's cottage, but it's not here anymore. Now there's your main road, the A163, the railway crossed there, and it's in here behind this fence there. So the crossing keeper's cottage would have been somewhere around here. I've got no photographs of it, I've not been able to find any photographs of it. I'll keep looking while I'm editing this video. Maybe I'll put a picture in, if not, sadly, that will be lost to time. Now if you have got any photographs of that crossing, please send them to me. My email is in the address below. So we've got to get back onto the railway, and we've got to get to Foggathorpe. Since we've left the A163 we haven't seen a great deal, but what I have seen is a very unusual fence post, which is here, this wooden one. I suspect it's railway. It certainly looks the sort of age, with the pitting on the ironwork, and it looks like a tensioning support post again, but made out of wood. There are lots of concrete posts and wooden posts going down, but we're trying to get on and see what else we can find. A little bit further down from that interesting post I showed you, we've got a farmer's crossing. The side behind me, there is nothing there, but the other side is really pretty cool. Here we are at the other side. Now this has got a post here and a post there, so this is actually quite a wide crossing. This has been caught and damaged recently, pushed over, and it's actually quite wobbly, so it's probably snapped at the bottom. We've got our hooks down there. Running alongside of that is a gully, but I can't get down there. It's about 6 foot deep, and I can't really see any brickwork, but I suspect there'll be original brickwork through there for that gully. If you want to know what these gullies are like, go back and watch one of my other videos, they're in there. And then at this side, it looks like it was a double gate with a catch in the middle, because we've got the gate post, we've got a gate still on it, broken down there, and then it must have met in the middle and swung out this way, not over the track, but this way. And then there'd have been one corresponding across the other side. So very unusual to see gate posts opposite each other. So walking down the line a little bit further, you're not going to believe what we found here. As if it wasn't enough finding the ruins of a goods wagon that's been identified on one of the previous videos. As if it wasn't enough coming across a railway station with the remains of a goods wagon that's been converted into like an outside patio area of a goods wagon that was used on this line, we've come across the remains of a vehicle, a trailer to be precise, and it is 100% British Rail. I literally have no idea why it was dumped here, but there are numbers on it. If there are any experts out there, can you please identify this particular wagon? It was a road wagon, it's a trailer. Look at this. Can you see that there? Look, British Railways. And then we have an asset number there. Now it was a road wagon, this one, we can tell that by the leaf springs and the axles. It's in very poor condition. But even so, by God, wouldn't it be nice to save and pop it in a museum for the Driffield and Malton Railway? And then we've got the hook up down there. Now it looks like what we've got here as well is part of the compressor for perhaps the air brakes. Unidentifiable mechanical part. It's got springs on it, possibly suspension. But look at that, absolutely crazy. I think, me and my brother, should I say, seem to think that this might be part of a trailer of what once was a Scamell Scarab. I'll put a picture up for you now. And there you go, look. This is where it would have been hooked up here. We've got this shape down here, there's two of those. And coming up there and across here. Absolutely brilliant. I'm going to put some pictures of this up at the end. Stay around for those. What an amazing find. We're going to get back down the railway. So what an amazing find that was, that wagon. A little bit further down we've got another gate crossing. There's only one side of it left. We can't see it on the other side, but again, it has got both gate posts in situ. So you can see how wide these used to be. And now this will tell you why they're ripped out these days when modern combines try and get through them. And there you have it. One side concrete. Still with the ironwork on there. And then the other side is a wooden one. Sadly, the corresponding one has gone at this side, but we can see there is a gap in the hedge where it's still being utilised and used years after the railway line had closed and not grown up like everything else. We'll continue on. Now what you're looking at behind me is a drainage ditch. This had a bridge over it for the railway. That's gone. There are no remains of it whatsoever. It's just all modern. As you can see, there's just nothing there. We can't even see into the bottom of the water with it being a bit murky. But there's no buttresses there or any supports or anything like that. And we'll continue on. There isn't really a lot left of this railway in terms of infrastructure. We've come to another farmer's crossing. One side is completely wiped out, but the other side still has this. This will be an original 1840s one looking at it. Absolutely rotten through to the inside in there. You can see the metalwork in there. It sounds hollow. Concrete posts. We do have a bit of a gully down here. All the gullies that we've seen so far have been modernised, and this one is no different. Another concrete tensioning support post. Let's continue. We're nearly at Foggathorpe. We've come across yet another farmer's crossing. This one is still in use. You can see the track there behind me, and it's got some gate posts. So if I turn you around there, this looks like an original 1840s one. You can see the ironwork at the top. We've got it at the bottom. It is feels fairly sturdy. They don't build gate posts like that anymore. But the other one is really quite a distance from that. It's in here, hidden in the bushes. Just in there. I hope you can see that there. It's got ironwork on because it still has the gate attached. Can you believe that? The gate is in the open position, so the farmer can just cross straight over. That's really quite incredible that that gate is still there. I mean, look how much this tree has grown round it and just sealed it in there, and it's never going to be used again. And the iron will be there for another 100 years and more. We've almost reached Foggathorpe, our station. I'm now on what was marked on the maps as a public footpath, and it still is a public footpath. We have one of the original gate posts in situ here. That's where the catch was. But again, at the other side there, lost, unfortunately. It'd be here somewhere, but not there. So we'll get on to the railway station. We've made it, finally. Foggathorpe Gate Railway Station, or as it later became known, Foggathorpe Railway Station. There are some things to show you, so I'll turn the camera around and we'll get on. So that is looking back to Holme Railway Station, Holme Moor Station. Round about there'd have been some points because we're now heading into the goods yard. This here slowly creeps up to an embankment, and that is where the coal drops were. Most likely in this area would have been the other area of the goods yard, which dealt mainly with agricultural, hay, cattle, that kind of thing. Now there are a few things to show you. The actual station itself has long gone. That was torn down in the 1970s. This station opened, well, it appeared on public timetables in 1851. But the line itself opened in 1848. So there's 3 years of discrepancy of when this railway station was used, though it would have been built. And it was closed as a station for passengers, except for the odd excursion. So it was mainly closed in 1854. And it continued to operate for seaside excursions up until 1957. The line completely closed on the 27th of the 1st, 1964. And what we're approaching here are what remains of the coal drops. So we can see some over there. I'll just get in there again. Mainly demolished, not cared for or looked after, which is here. This is the start of them, and we've still got a back wall in there. Most of the dead dividing bays have now gone, but we have got the end wall. Coming along here, we can see the coping on the top of this one still. If the camera's picking up the wind, I do apologise about that. But this is the end of the coal drops. Now there is a bit of iron work on the top of there, but I can't get up there to show you that, and I can't get through this undergrowth to show you. Now our platforms are on the other side of the line, so that's where we're going to pick up next. I mean on the other side of the road. So here I am on the crossing at Foggathorpe Gate Railway Station. The gate was dropped in 1864, and it was originally opened as a single track with only one platform and doubling in 1889. The actual station was here. It's knocked down now. I've got some photographs that I'm going to match up, so stick around for those. And it did have a signal box. Now the station, Master's House, was knocked down in the 1970s, and it had a booking office and a waiting room on the east side of the ground floor. Both of the platforms, which we'll get to in a minute, had wooden shelters, and there is still some things to see on those platforms. Now there was a signal box built later on, and it was erected here, and it was a 13 lever signal box, and it controlled the gates that were here and the small goods yards behind. And it initially had a cattle dock with a second siding later added for the coal, which we've already seen. There was actually also a weighbridge and a office next to the entrance, which is just there, but all that's gone. Crossing over the road, the lines would have gone straight through here. It immediately goes over a gully, so we have got this. Now I can't get down there to shine a torch in, it's far too deep and muddy and far too steep. And this is where our platforms begin. They're both facing platforms, We can see they are still here, they still exist. We've got that one down there, and I'll take you straight across to the other side, and we've got that one there. What we do have here is some remainders of railway line, some actual railway track. Again, you can see the age of that by the shape of it, and you can see where the fish plate attached to that one there. So that's pretty amazing that that is still here. So going down a little bit further, we can see where the name boards were for Foggathorpe here, and we've got the little shelf that it sat on, and we've got another one there as well. It did have lights on this station, so there was concrete pillars for those to stand on, and I have found one of those for you as well. But what's crazy about this one is it is there and it's grown into the tree. I will be putting some photographs up at the end for you as well. Now, the other platform doesn't have a great deal remaining. We can find no traces of any timber waiting rooms. That would have been too much, that. Absolutely no chance of finding any of that sort of thing. But as we move down the platform, there is fencing at the back. They're in reasonable condition. Look at this. Where the undergrowth isn't quite there, you can see your platform edgings, your engineering brick underneath. The same at the other side. Copings, your engineering brick. We have had a walk up and down these platforms to see what we can find. And actually through the back of there, you might be able to see some unnatural diagonal shapes of railway fencing. This place was never maintained once it was closed. There is also another pillar for a gas light with the metalwork still on the top, which would have been later converted to electricity. And as we walk down the platform, we can still see a bit more of the fencing. I can zoom into that for you a bit better over here. You can see that there, it's clear as day now. That typical diagonal railway fencing. I don't know if that's a national thing or really around Yorkshire. And let's just quickly go over to this side, because where the name board stood was on this one here that's bent over. But if we look here, we've still got one intact, standing proud of where the name board will have once gone. Now we're coming to the end of the platforms now. They are absolutely huge. It's amazed me how long these platforms are on this railway. And we've got down here, it's still quite clear. You can stand on here. I had a walk up there and took some photographs. I don't know why the council are not looking after this, making a little feature of it. But it ends there, and it ends down here, and on the maps there was a signal post around there. Now that is long and straight, and the locomotives must have got some speed up going down there, and we're going to see what's down there in the next episode.